Hey everybody, it's Jay Young again, and thank you so much for joining me here today. If you are missing one thing in your business, there's one particular thing that if you're missing, well, it could really be the difference between success and failure. I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was telling me that this particular time of year for him is his slow season. And I said, "Well, are you okay with that?" And he goes, "Well, it's just our business, that's just the way it is." I said, "Well, if there was a way to not have it be the way it is, would that be better?" And he said, "Well, yeah, but in my line of work, you just can't do it." And we talked a little more, and I said, "Well, if I could show you a way, would you be interested?" He said, "Well, of course." So the idea that I shared with him is one that I want to share with you today because it's something that you can start right now. In fact, today. It's amazing. I talk to so many business owners and they will tell me I'll ask them the question, this particular question, if they have this already in their business and they go, "Well, no, I don't, but or I kind of do, but I don't do anything with it." Let me When Facebook tried to buy Snapchat, why did they try to buy Snapchat? Facebook did buy Instagram. Google bought YouTube. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. eBay bought Skype. Amazon bought Ring. Why did they do that? Was it because, I mean, there's a million Ring doorbells out there right now. Did Amazon really go, well, this is some really cool technology? Or did Facebook want Snapchat because, they couldn't duplicate the technology that Snapchat had? I mean, you could probably get a 6-year old to create the actual app that Snapchat has. Why did Facebook try to buy them? Why did Facebook buy Instagram? It's because they have a list. Snapchat had millions of people on their list. Instagram, millions of people. YouTube, billions of people on their list. The reason why these companies were sought after is not because of their technology or the great people they had. I'm sure they had some great people, but it was their list. That's what it's all about. And I go back to my friend who said, "Nah, it's just kind of a slow time of the year for us." He didn't have a list. He had plenty of customers and he had a few almost customers, but he wasn't doing anything with them. He didn't even have a spreadsheet, as simple as a spreadsheet, a CSV file or an Excel spreadsheet with those customers' names on that list that he could stay engaged with and nurture. And it's one of those things you think, well, it can't be that easy, right? Right? I mean, it's there's more to it than that. Uh, I had a friend who owned an HVAC company, and he was about 35 years old. He had some kids. He liked played baseball with his kids. He had a kid that was on a baseball team, and he wanted to spend more time with him. And so he put his company up for sale. It wasn't that he had these amazing tools that could, because HVAC, I mean, there's some welding, some soldering possibly. You've got some gauges that check the freon. I know that freon doesn't exist anymore, but whatever the coolant is in HVAC systems now. So it wasn't his tools. It wasn't his old dilapidated truck that he hauled around. It was his list. And that's what he said. He said, I've got X amount of people on my list, and the big HVAC company in town snapped it up. They bought him out. I mean, that's the power of a list. So when you think, well, it's just, it's a slow time of the year, if you have a goal to ever sell your business, you're going to have a list because they don't whoever's going to buy your business, they're not buying you, right? You're not going with them. I doubt you're going with them, right? They're not buying your phone and your computer and your copy machine at your office. They're not buying your, if you're a builder or a contractor, they're not buying all of your tools. They're buying your list because that's where the money is. In fact, it really is the lifeblood of your business. In fact, I'd written down a quote: "The list is the greatest safety net in the history of the world." And I'm going to get to why I say that in just a moment. Uh, the thing that will determine the price of your sale, if you decide that someday that, in 20 years from now, you want to sell your roofing company or your tree care company or whatever it is you do, you're going to have a list, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to say, let's take a look at your list. Who could I go to right now and to be able to get new customers, to get new business to come in? So imagine this scenario where the government requires you to shut down your business, or the government makes it really difficult for your customers to use your services, products, and or business. Imagine if that scenario ever happened. The pandemic, right? The shutdown. It's happened to everybody except for Walmart, Home Depot, and Lowe's. But the uh, the deal is, if you had a list, you could continue to do business. You wouldn't have to hope and pray that your customers remembered you, or that they knew that you were open, or if you weren't open. The list is the determining factor of your success. And it goes back to my friend saying, well, there's some times that are just slow. But imagine if there didn't have to be times that were slow. If you had a list and you nurtured that list, and what I mean by that is by providing them with quality information, providing them with information that will benefit them somehow, providing them with amazing offers, providing them with tips and strategies and free video how-tos and all kinds of different things that you can do to stay engaged with your customers. So when you need to make some sales, you have somebody that you can go to already. And staying engaged and nurturing the list is where the magic happens. So the most important thing, as I mentioned before, the list is the greatest safety net in the history of the world. And if that's true, staying engaged and nurturing that list is where the magic happens. So what is the value of a list? You're thinking, well, it's just I've got some, emails here and there, and I've got some of that information around here. Well, the rule of thumb says that one person on your list is worth $1. So if you got one person on your list, they're worth $1 per month to you. So if you've got 100 people on your list, about $100 a month for you. You're thinking, well, that's not that big a deal. But now this is over a year's time. So now imagine, so you got 1,000 people on your list, right? You got 10,000 people on your list. What if you had 100,000 people on your list, right? If you had 100,000 people on your list, that's $100,000 per month, or $1.2 million a year. For 10,000 people on your list, which is pretty doable, right? That's $120,000 a year. That's the difference between staying in business and not, especially if, say, the government decided to make you close down for a while, maybe 3 or 4 months during a busy time of the year for you. So the value of your list, it is super powerful. And again, there's more strategy that I will get into in later videos. But the business that is closest to the customer wins every time. And what I mean by that is the business that stays engaged, nurtures that customer, will win every single time. And that is why I am so excited to be able to share with you the entrepreneur's blueprint to re-engage past customers and almost customers to generate a predictable revenue stream. My advice would be for you, if you're not building a list, start today. Whatever you do, start today. If you've got some random names around, each one of those names could be worth $1, right? You think, oh, that's not worth it. When they start adding up, it's worth it. If you already have a list, nurture that list. Make sure that it's just not this stagnant list that, they've forgotten about you. So you think, well, I do have a list. There's about, I've got one client that has about 10,000 people on his list, and he can go to them with different offers at any time. And I'm not saying that all 10,000 are going to buy, but many do, right? Especially if the offer is great. So again, if you've ever said to yourself as a business owner or an entrepreneur, this is just a tough time of the year, we're just going through a little trough, it's just a bad time, everybody else is doing it. Wouldn't it be amazing though if everybody else did it but not you? That is the power of the list. And I'm going to go into it in more detail in coming videos. But I do want to leave you with this: solve problems, create solutions, and continue to engage with your list, with your customers, and they'll be loyal to you for life. Thanks again for watching today.